Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for this opportunity to get to share a little bit of information with you. If you were here back in June, I believe it was, we previewed this new program. Leave it to me not to just do the easy thing. Yes, I will make it harder than necessary probably, but the idea is to try to advance and do something better. Great believer in the concept of continuous improvement. So, having done more than a few business plans myself, and who else in here has suffered through writing a business plan?
Oh, yeah. I've suffered through reading a bunch of them.
And then reading them, sometimes even worse. But
so is Lori, wherever she is.
It seems like no matter how many times I've done it, when I stare at that template or the screen and I have to start, it's tough. I mean, I don't think writing business plans is easy. I think it's essential. I think we basically do it very, very poorly in total as a business community. I'm not talking about Fayetteville Tech. I'm talking about around the globe. And so there's got to be something better. Now, people have worked with lean business model canvases. If you're familiar with those, and there's the one-page business plan, but that's kind of a little too brief. Had a guy come in the other day with an 82-page business plan. It's like the next great American novel. Guess what business he was going to open?
A coffee
Got
shop.
82-page. Well, you're close. You'd think 82 pages is going to be some super high-tech or pharmaceutical or med device or something. Snow cone shop. 82 pages for a snow cone shop? Shave ice, good flavoring. Okay, I think I got this. I think I got the recipe. So anyway, there's got to be a better way of doing this, and I came up with a couple things. The problem with when you start the business plan, I think that when you get overwhelmed is how do you eat the elephant? And now, it's one bite at a time. And in the process of doing a number of other things, I discovered this guy, really good guy. Well, this is our criteria, but we'll skip that. And I've lost the slide I was looking for. But anyway, found, can't believe I left that slide out. Found a guy who'd really taken a process of carving up the elephant into bite-sized digestible bites. It's called the GrowthWheel. He's a Danish serial entrepreneur, and the slide will come up somewhere where it's irrelevant, named David Maddie. And he has started, I think, about 4 highly successful companies that he's sold to bigger companies. And in the process, he kept saying, writing a business plan or starting a business is really a series of making decisions, making choices. I'm going to do this and not that, or I want to get here, and these are the things I have to decide and choose to get from point A to point B, etc. So tried to distill this down and take it into a format that would then translate into a functional blueprint for somebody to start or grow a business, or to take it to a lender or investor and actually get funding. So it had to be very functional in my mind, both applicable internally and then with lenders. Because how many people have seen business plans that you could actually take off the shelf and use as a roadmap to run a business? Not many. How many people have seen a business plan, I'm not talking about by students, but by people already building businesses, that you could put in front of a lender and they wouldn't giggle or make faces or throw it back at you?
Like rough draft business plans?
Yeah, we'll go more.
A little bit more advanced than that.
Yeah. Usually they fall somewhere in between and they don't accomplish either. So anyway, the idea was to, the process, it's like the waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can't do too much extra or you can't skip too much. 1, 2, 3. I won't try to demonstrate my waltzing ability. But you guys kind of get the picture, right? So very simple, and the original concept has been to do this in 2 10-week phases because in the past, it appears trying to do it in the whole process in 8 or 10 weeks, even if that's the only thing you're doing, is not enough time. Those who've been through it, would you agree or not agree? And if you are dealing with family or job or life, it's even probably more complicated, but has anybody been able to go from 0 to launch in 10 weeks? I haven't. Never made it, despite my best efforts. So the simple thing, break it up into 2 10-week segments, because the end goal isn't for somebody to write a business plan, it's for them to either start their business and have it get off to a good, successful start and have a good trajectory, or to grow their business, one or the other. So doing the business plan is just a piece of the puzzle. So the pieces that I have found most effective is the Lean Business Model Canvas. My personal experience has been if you do not get your business model, well, your value proposition and your business model correct, nothing else is really going to matter much after that. You're off on a tangent. So if you don't get your value proposition and your business model right, you're going to struggle. But if you take that tool, which distills your ideas about this great snow cone shop, for example, and puts it down in a basic outline, you can then start dividing things up using the GrowthWheel, which has a series of about 160 organized decisions. And it's a smorgasbord. Yes, it is from Scandinavia, and they do have smorgasbords there. And you pick and choose what you need from that. So as you progress, then you transfer that into Live Plan. And I think some of the instructors here use Live Plan. No? At least 1 or 2. Which I think has really improved dramatically over the old B Plan software. And then, of course, QuickBooks, which some people like or don't like, but it is kind of a lingua franca. And it's the best way to get everybody on the same page and do those financials. And it integrates well with Live Plan. So that's the sequence of these events. Oh, here's that slide I was looking for. But that's David. And the GrowthWheel breaks things up into these 4 categories and then subdivides it into 5 categories, I believe, per section. And then those are further subdivided into as many as 4 to 8 decision things. So the whole idea is it helps you put together the puzzle. And what you're trying to do is just take all these ideas, the overwhelmingness of starting the business, and get focused, then set your agenda, make the decisions, and take action. It's a good program for that. One of the tools we used in June was an analysis of where your business or you might personally be. And how did that happen? I don't know. So today I thought we'd do something a little different, and I found this tool to be great. It doesn't apply so much to startups, but the handouts I'm looking for, you have all of them? They have?
I have them.
Oh,
They
they
all
have
have
them.
them.
Oh, they have them. Okay, they already have them. Okay, good. Very simple. Nature and business abhor homeostasis. There is no standing still. You're either moving forward or backwards. And if you're not moving forwards, you're definitely moving backwards because the market is going to be moving forward. It's a phenomenon I call, it's very simple, human nature, but I call it the inflation of expectations. Whatever we got today, tomorrow we want it cheaper, better, faster, nicer, more convenient, something. Jeff Bezos, somebody said, "Oh, why are you doing 2-day delivery?" And then they came back, "Why are you doing 1-day, same-day delivery?" And he said, "I don't expect I'll ever get a call from a customer that says, 'Oh, no, don't deliver it so fast. Just take your time.'" It doesn't happen. I mean, if he could get probably a pneumatic tube to ship the stuff to you, he would. Or maybe he'll have the beam me up Scotty stuff one day. I don't know. So you have to move forward. And if you look at this growth star, I thought it really, for me, helped prioritize where you might want to focus your growth, because you've got to grow in some way. Now, maybe no one else here has experienced it, but I had this deja vu all over again moment a couple weeks ago talking to one of our small business center clients. And they had been in business, I think, about 3 years, and they were running harder than ever to keep up with where they were. I mean, things were pretty good. They're making money, they're paying themselves a salary, things are pretty good. But they're running harder and harder to stay in place. What has happened? The competitors have gotten a little sharper, and their customers, the market in general, people buying from them, prospective customers, are expecting more. And they have not re-examined their product offerings or the way they go to market or their customer base or anything. So the point is you have to grow. And I remember being stuck in that when we started the consulting firm. We were probably, I think, about 3 years in, and things were really starting to go well, but then they weren't. We were just going crazy trying to keep up with where we were and maintain the level we had achieved. What we had to do was go back and revisit our core business model. And we went from being so much consulting, and which is like McKinsey, where they just say, "Oh, here's the problem, here's the data, here's the solution, good luck, where's our check?" And we said, "Gee, we're going to do something different, we're going to implement." And this was kind of, I know it sounds simple, a breakthrough idea, that we're going to find the problem, the solution, write the prescription, and then we're going to actually deal out the pills and medicine by doing the training in your organization. So if you had a sales problem or a customer service problem, we would go in and do the training to teach them the new method or process or approach. We then, a couple years later, found that some people weren't catching on. They were the wrong people in the wrong seats, and we went into doing behavioral analysis. So we did 2 iterations of our business model, and it went from consulting to consulting and training, and then coaching, and the assessments and everything. So that eventually, kind of like in the book Good to Great, we were able to help companies get the right people in the right seats, doing the right things for the right customers. And they made a bunch of money doing that. It worked. How simple. I mean, we overcomplicate these things. But somewhere, if you look at, you could almost do this on a personal basis, but if you looked at your business or your department, even here in school, you could look at where is our prime opportunity for growth. I know working in consumer packaged goods, Kellogg were always pushing for volume growth, and then one day somebody figured out that's not always profitable. That was a real revelation. But it's great vanity numbers about your market share being up. It played well on Wall Street, so we didn't do that. But a lot of people will look at this and they'll say, well, gee, I really need market growth, but I need financial growth to achieve that. Their objective, really, if they have to focus on one, is market growth. The financial part is just to supplement that. So if you take a minute and you try to focus on where you might be, whether it's income growth and productivity and profitability, or particularly quality growth. I think everybody can probably go back and look at their quality, or should, on a regular basis. I hope you see the advantage of doing this. Does anybody like? For me, even if I look at the Center for Small Business, the things we have to do, we've got all the volume we need. We have to go back and work on, efficiencies and things like that. And Athena and Ginger over there are saying, oh yeah, he needs some help on efficiency. They try really hard. One day they'll train me. But I think it's really good. There's so many things tugging at our attention and for our resources. And I don't know about you, but I feel like Gumby sometimes, being stretched this way and that way. And how do you focus on what's important? And one of my favorite expressions, which Ginger and Athena have heard way too many times, old Southern expression, you gotta kill the snake closest to your leg. And those days when you feel like Indiana Jones down in the pit of vipers, it's really important to recognize which snake is closest to your leg. But I hope this is an idea of one of the tools to help people focus. Some of the clients in the first cohort of the Profit Acceleration Program were trying to move on all fronts simultaneously. They were in a big growth mode with relatively young companies. And I'm not sure about the rest of you, but I found that difficult, and I've not seen other people, particularly small companies or large, be able to move and have financial growth and volume growth and everything simultaneously. You've got to kind of focus on one decisive area that will give the biggest payoff. So I think this is, let me know if you find this useful, if you would please. But there's a thick notebook, I should have brought down, very colorful, that has all these tools, and they're online. So the great thing working with the cohorts is that they can do stuff online and share it, and we can go back and forth and discuss it. So anyway, that's something of the process. Part of the thing, if you can't decide which area of the STAR to focus on, it has a worksheet you can then go through. And let's say it's quality. It has a format you can start doodling and thinking about where in your process are you breaking down. And then, like in our experience, we found that it was, you would get the process right, you train, and then you found out it's the wrong people. Who's the right people? You start doing an employee profile, and so forth. So this all goes back to the whole profit acceleration. And I don't know if I'm about out of time here. But we have another cohort starting 10 days, lost track of time, the 21st. And there will be 10 two-hour group meetings. I don't want to call them classes because they're more interactive than, sorry. I'm going to have to put an X over here or something. They're more interactive. They're not a class. It's not a lecture. But it's a group meeting because there's a lot of sharing amongst the participants, which I think is a great thing. I'm going to do it Thursday, 3 to 5 in room 210. So there'll be 10 hours a week of probably independent work, being there and going through the things online. The great thing is GrowthWheel, LivePlan, QuickBooks are all on the cloud. So it's easy to work on and easy to share. And we'll spend a couple hours one-on-one talking about things. Everybody comes up to some forks in the road, and they've got to take one of them. So sometimes they want to talk about it, and we do that. But everything's included for the whopping fee, $180. If you register today, we'll throw in 6 steak knives.
Are those Ginsu?
They are.
Okay.
I was going to point that out, but I wasn't sure about the trademark ramifications. But if you know of anybody who particularly is early in their business and needs to grow, or if they're just at the brink of starting a business and can't quite get liftoff, this is a really good program for them. I think this would work really well with large businesses. I'd love to have an opportunity to work with a department at a MJ Sophie or Goodyear or one of the big companies around here. But it's a cool program. We have made some refinements from the first cohort. You always learn the great plan looks so good on paper, and then you actually try to apply it, it doesn't fit so well. So having to make some adjustments, but we'll work at continuous improvement. So, Lane, if you have any students who are interested, this is some how to register information. Thank you, Athena. And if you have any questions, well, I guess that was comprehensive and all-inclusive.
So when you're using Life Plan, so they've modified the Life Plan over the last few years, and so it's really simple if you use the format that they show. Do you require, or do you think it's a positive thing for them to go in and add some of those sections? That the additional, the smorgasbord, as you mentioned?
Yeah, I do. And what we're trying to steer some of the in operation, up and running businesses towards is, do the business plan and keep it, we're trying to keep it to 8 to 12 pages, to be honest. Let's not get carried away. That includes financials, but then some addendums from the GrowthWheel or Life Plan that add some operational detail to it. It's not part of the business plan. You wouldn't show it to a lender, but internally you might use it. Does that answer that, Lauren?
Yes.
Yeah, I really think Life Plan has improved a lot, but they have that pitch section.
So the pitch is for a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
So
But I always thought, my understanding was it would transfer over into the battle plan. To the plan, but it's actually a separate component.
It is.
But it's still a good piece that they put together. And it kind of forces you to do a good elevator pitch and so forth. Yes, sir.
Kent, what's the fellow's name that invented the GrowthWheel, David?
I can't pronounce it. I don't have
Spell
a date. Madie with a accent on the E, and I can shoot you that information. Really interesting guy. Amazing successes where he's pulled things together. Yes, ma'am.
And the students that participate in your course, do they have access to Life Plan?
They get Life Plan, GrowthWheel, which they can't go out and buy. And they get QuickBooks. It's all included. No cover, no minimum.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how long will they have access to that?
For a year.
For a year.
There's one little asterisk behind that. If they quit using it, then we take it away from them. So if they are dormant for 3 months,
How long do they have to be dormant before?
3 months,
3 months, okay.
yeah,
So the subscription's not in their name, the subscription belongs.
it's in their name.
Okay.
But I'm the wizard behind the green curtain on that. So,
So the caveat
use it
is-
or lose it. It's
So
the
the
message,
caveat is they must.
Is this open to just students or?
No, anybody.
Do
We
you have
have
a
not
flyer
had,
about this? Because I can distribute it through the chamber.
we can get them to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send me a flyer, because we got some chamber stuff coming up. And
yeah,
I'll push it out that way.
yeah.
Because we've got some new startups that are looking at putting together business plans now. This will really work out well.
Yeah, it's fun to see them come together.
Yeah.
We had one student in the first cohort. I hate to call them students. I like to call them clients. And they were up and running, but it was madness. And this brought some sanity. to it. And this amazing thing called profitability.
No.
Yeah, isn't that
Really?
funny? You know, what a novel concept. To actually make money for all that running around and investment. So that's pretty cool, but I will get those to you.
The last thing, so
Yes.
is it true that 3 referrals get in free and a steak knife?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And, but wait, there's more. Anyway.
Order now.
Yes, order now. Operators are standing by. So, yeah. But speaking of the chamber, for members and non-members, Dr. Brian Henderson, chair of the HR department here, will be leading a series of 3 really good workshops at the chamber beginning February 13th.
Next week, Wednesday.
Yes. If it wasn't for them, you know, I'm just a puppet. They just it's February 13th, March 13th, and April 10th, and they will we will have a 1.5 hour pretty intense workshop. The first one's about attracting and pulling in the right kind of applicants for your business. The second one is screening them and hiring them. The third one is on onboarding them and how to legally offboard if you've made or something's happened. So it's a really good 3-part thing. Brian Henderson, amazing background. He did executive recruiting for Duke University, Duke Medical, Ohio Medical, something like that. I can't remember.
Wake Med. You also did Wake Med.
Wake Med, but he also did some other corporation.
Waste Management.
Yes, waste management. There's a difference between medical and waste management. Maybe there isn't.
There's a lot of similarities too.
Actually, there are probably. I hesitate to think about that. So great background, and he has some incredible case studies. Solutions that he actually developed or programs that he had to implement and then modify. So that's coming up. It's $10 for lunch for members of the chamber, and I highly encourage people to join the chamber. $25 for non-members. But this is going to be really good stuff that he has there. And any other questions?
How much does it cost?
Oh, thank you, Ron. It's $180 for the.
Oh, it's free.
Oh no, this is free, and the seminars are free. But for $180, you get GrowthWheel, Life Plan, QuickBooks, and the six Ginsu steak knives.
My wife doesn't let me in the kitchen. Can I have some other special?
Yes, matter of fact, we have the nesting Tupperware.
That doesn't do it for me either, Ken.
Okay, well, sorry. How about the little hula girl on the dash?
No, that I can go
Okay, I figured that might be so. Yeah.
Wife might have a problem with the girls.
I don't like that one either.
That's her problem.
She might not like that.
So if you have some, we haven't had any students. They've all been people out of school, business people. We've had a couple of active duty personnel who are working on their stuff from over in the sandbox. And it's been fun.
Is this coordinated at all with Seed?
Mm-mm. No. They aren't licensed to do GrowthWheel. They haven't gone through the certification. So, matter of fact, we are the only place in the Southeast licensed to do GrowthWheel. It's used in, I think, like 42 other states, but not the Southeast. The SBDC, SBTDCs, in many states, it's their program. It's what they work on. And then they had Life Plan and QuickBooks and so forth. A little bit different way than we do. But.
So most startups struggle with the lack of deep pockets, if you will. Do you have any, do you consult or make reference as to how to help the business or startup
With funding.
finances?
Yes. Since I've been here, I've been lucky to run into a couple people that do have deep pockets,
Okay.
and they have money in them. And that's really good, and they're willing to take it out on the right occasions. So this Saturday, 3 of our profit acceleration clients will be in front of one of these investors and some lenders to get some money for everything from working capital to expansion to an acquisition.
And so you also mentioned using the pitch in Live Plan for assisting with the elevator pitch. Will some of your successful students come to 1 Million Cups and tell us about their business?
Yes,
Perfect.
I've already asked them, and they're trying to get through this next phase.
Okay.
So, yeah, but we will get them. I think you'll find some of them interesting.
Okay.
Some have taken on some really new, interesting projects. So, pretty cool. I think it's time for the Linda show, isn't it?
Oh, my.
If those are all the questions, I really appreciate it. I didn't.
Oh, forgot, we always have the last question.
Oh, last question.
What can this community do for you?
If you know of a startup or early phase or even a mature business, we can help somebody who wants to sell plan a good exit using this program. And I bet you they haven't planned an exit.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. That is the question.
I'm not in this one.
That's the money question, and recommend to anybody, and I'll be happy to talk to them. But thank you,
Thank you.
and I'll send those flyers.
Sorry.